Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on the channel, we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. Today, we're going to talk about our Christmas books, in particular, some of our Christmas children's books. Our children's Christmas books. Let's dive in. As I was pulling this out, all the books out, this year we are keeping them on the bottom shelf of our bookshelf. We have a bookshelf in our living room. So I've got them in there for now, but I think I'm going to put them in a basket and bring them out a little bit more because the bookshelf, that bottom row, is getting a little hidden away and the kids aren't picking them up as much. But also I noticed some are missing and I'm not quite sure where they are. They might have gotten put into a box that was not marked Christmas. I thought we were doing pretty good on that labeling, but I guess not. So this is only some of them and they're in no particular order. So that should make editing a lot of fun. Let's dive in. On the top of this pile here are two of our favorite Christmas books. They are different versions of The Night Before Christmas. So we first picked up this one, The Soldier's Night Before Christmas. This is by Trish Holland and Christine Ford and illustrated by John Manders. This is such a great story to read. It is told in the kind of night before Christmas way or poetry. 'Twas the night before Christmas and all through the base only sentries were stirring, they guarded the place. And then it goes on about Santa Claus, or in this case it is Sergeant. As I drew in my head and was turning around, through the tent flap the sergeant came in with a bound. He was dressed all in camo and looked quite a sight, with a Santa hat added for this special night. So this is just a really great story, and I got some really great conversations going. My dad is actually a veteran, and so I picked this one up first and kind of talked about the Army and that branch of our armed forces. The other one that we found was the Navy's Night Before Christmas. So we picked up this one as well, and I believe these are the only two that they have. I don't know if they have any other branches, but if they do, I will try to link it for you. I purchased these, I believe, on ThriftBooks. We try to buy used books when we can. So I will look for a link, a budget-friendly link down below for you if I can find one. Another one of our favorites is the Charlie Brown Christmas by Charles M. Schulz. And this one in particular follows the Christmas special. This book actually was like one of the Kohl's books, the $5 Kohl's books. I don't know if that's where we got it from or if we purchased it like I said in the thrift book things, but we purchased this one and we love it. This is going to go along with these along with this one is going to go along with our Wandering Wise Men. If you've not caught up on our countdown to Christmas videos, that is one of our videos. There's one, I will link the Wandering Wise Men for you up above so you can kind of get an idea of what that is if you haven't seen that one yet. This one you can tell is loved. The cover is missing, but this was The Joy of a Peanuts Christmas, and these are just 50 years of holiday comics. So just little comics, Christmas themed comics that the kids like to look through as well. Okay, now this one, Wonders and Miracles, illustrated with art spanning 3,000 years, written and compiled by Eric A. Kimmel. This one was actually gifted to us by another homeschooling family, and this one is so great. It's got a lot of information in it, the cedar plate. This is more of what we use when we are doing a little more studying, more for our school, like homeschool area and things, but it's got just so much information in here. So great. Making matzah, baking matzah. There's a matzah recipe in here that we haven't tried, but we totally should. In fact, I'm going to move this bookmark over, see if that's something my kids want to do with us. But in the back, it's also got some more favorite Passover recipes. So this one says on the cover here, National Jewish Book Awards winner, Jewish Book Council. This is given to us, like I said, was gifted to us by another homeschool family, and it's just been such a treasure to look through and have in our collection. Along with kind of the homeschool route and just learning books, this is one that we purchased, I believe, last year or the year before on the recommendation of Ashley from Grace and Grit, and she recommended A Treasury of Christmas Stories and Songs. So you can see it has a really pretty kind of iridescent or foiled cover there. And this one says Christmas favorites for the whole family. This one, there's quite a few things in here. Quite a few different stories and things. Good King Wenceslas, A Letter to Santa, The Fir Tree, Oh Come All Ye Faithful, The Nutcracker is in here. Really gorgeous illustrations as well too, just really fun. We also use this along with another study that we have purchased, and it just dives in a little bit deeper into, for instance, we have a study on the 12 days of Christmas and the meaning behind those things, some of the meanings, and so we'll pull this out sometimes and go through it as we're doing the study. So those are two really great books. Another one, years ago, someone in a Bible study recommended I read this to my oldest son. My daughter was still a baby. Was this Jotham's Journey, a storybook for Advent. This was a special book for her and her son. This is written by Arnold Yatreed. I'm put it up here for you because I might have butchered that. This is an Advent story, so it has like week 1, the 4th Sunday before Christmas, and then you read that portion and it goes on, and you read it throughout as the Advent season goes on. She gifted this book to us because it was special to her and her son, and they had a lot of great memories reading it together, and so now it's part of our home. Another fun book that we just happened upon was this paperback book, The Secret of a Pioneer Christmas. I think we found this at a thrift store somewhere, but it just has like a couple of just different fun things in here. Decorating the tree, early pioneer Christmases, games, riddles, the Christmas in Salt Lake City. And so we just, like I said, happened upon this. The pages are bright orange, so we just happened upon this in a thrift store, and we thought we'd pick it up and just thumb through it and kind of just learn a little bit about this time frame. We do, of course, own a copy of The Night Before Christmas. I don't know why I say of course, we have a copy of it. This one, I really love this Santa on here. I just think it's a sweet picture. This says the classic edition by Clement Seymour, illustrated by Charles Santor. So this one I will show you. It's a hardcover one, which is nice. And the illustrations are kind of a lot of dark backgrounds there. And then here's that Santa again. But always have fun to have this copy on hand. In fact, I think this story, though, is in the Christmas Treasury book as well. Sorry for the lighting. Yeah, sorry. Okay, hopefully that's a little better. But I was just saying, this is nice to have just the story pulled out by itself in one hardcover book. So if we're doing like a bedtime story or something like that for the evening, we can just pull this one book up instead of the big, giant book. It's really not that giant of a book, but sometimes my youngest, if there's multiple stories in the book, can kind of want to talk us into multiple readings. And I don't know, parents, when you're tired and you're like one story, I don't want to give them more options. So it's nice to have that as a separate book. We also have just this fun fingerprint activities Christmas. So it does come with this ink pad here. This is a Usborne book, but actually, we don't actually have them do the printing in the book because they use it over and over again. So they usually just do it on a separate piece of paper, but it walks them through doing little pictures with their fingerprint. So you mark your fingerprint down, and then it goes through the steps of how to make an elf and other fun things. And there is room, like I said, in the book here for you to do that, but my kids have mostly done it on a separate piece of paper. See. Oh, Alice in Bible Land. I first found one of these books in a thrift store. This is the story of baby Jesus, but there are also different stories about Jonah and Mary, and I think there's a story of Ruth. I'm trying to think of all the ones we have ended up collecting. So you can see we mostly find these in the thrift store or used. This is written by Alice Joyce Davidson and illustrated by Victoria Marshall. But it's about a little girl who kind of goes into Bible land through her storybook. So she reads a story and the Bible storybook became a great big open screen. Alice walked on through to Bible land and came upon this scene, and then it tells the story. So we think these are really sweet and endearing children's books, and so we have a couple of these, but this one in particular is in our Christmas story because it's the story of baby Jesus. This book, I don't even know where we got this. Maybe it was from, probably most likely from a thrift store, but guess who's coming to Santa's for dinner? And this one has become one of my kids' favorite. Here is the author. I'm probably going to butcher the name, so there it is. I don't want to mess it up. But it's just a really sweet story about people coming over to Santa's for dinner, and it's about Mr. and Mrs. Claus, and they're inviting people, families coming over, and it's just something fun and whimsical, and something that my kids have just really enjoyed. This story, this is one they just happen to cling to, and one of their favorites. So we go through this book at least once every Christmas season. So two other books that have to do with Santa and the baby Jesus is Santa and the Christ Child. This one is published by Santa and the Christ Child. It says, and it is by Nicholas Bakewell. So this one is, it is based on my copyrighted screenplay entitled Santa and the Christ Child. May it fill your hearts with love and joy and the real spirit of Christmas. And so this one is kind of follows along Santa and the workshop, and he gets injured, and then towards the end here it just goes through and then reminds him, Santa, what Christmas is truly about. This one is more of, begins with Santa already remembering what Christmas is about, but concerned that people may have forgotten. And so it goes through and it gives up a little background of what St. Nicholas, who St. Nicholas was, and then wraps it all back up with the kneeling Santa. So it brings it all back to the kneeling Santa, which the idea reached fruition in the beautiful figurine of the kneeling Santa, which Raymond Gower, I'm not sure if I said that right, commissioned the internally renowned sculptor Rudolf Vargas to create in 1976. And so that is a picture. So that is this is a story that kind of, this is a story behind that, I think, that for children and for adults too. It's a cute story. A friend recommended to me this book, Santa, Are You For Real? And this is by Harold Myra, illustrated by Jane Caruso. In Santa, Are You For Real? Children will discover that there really was a St. Nicholas. Through colorful illustrations and a heartwarming story, children and parents will learn who the real St. Nick was, when he lived, and why he gave gifts. And so it's just kind of a short story of being like, yes, this is who St. Nicholas was. This is just kind of the story, the background of who St. Nicholas was in a way that can be explained to children. Another kind of fun story is Snowman at Christmas. This book we actually figured out we had multiple copies of, so I think we just finally donated the extras. But this is about snowman and how they come to life at night and the things and adventures they go through. This one is by Carolyn Buhner and pictures by Mark Buhner. Again, I apologize if I'm not getting the names right, but it's kind of just a cute story, especially if you live in a snow area and your kids are building snowmen and wondering kind of how come they don't look the same in the morning as they did when they left them there. So it's kind of a fun, lighthearted book. Another book that we picked up just this year is How Do Dinosaurs Say Happy Hanukkah? Now, this is technically not a Christmas book, it's a Hanukkah book. But we'd like for our kids to know what Hanukkah is and the story of why they light the menorah and the candles. And so this one is part of the series, How Do Dinosaurs, and then do different things. So we won the book, How Do Dinosaurs Say Goodnight, and I believe we have another one, but when we found this, I wanted to pick this one up, like I said. And so it just has, does a dinosaur act up on Hanukkah nights when mama comes in with the holiday lights? And it kind of goes through what your child should not be doing, and then in the end, no, a dinosaur doesn't. He sings every prayer, takes turn with the dreidel, remembers to share. So it is just a sweet, fun story for kiddos and kind of opens the conversation up to that if that's something you'd be interested in having in your home. That's going to do it for me though. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you have any Christmas books that you would recommend, would you leave them down below for all of us to see? We are always looking for new books around here. Anyways, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And if you don't know, or if you just need to be reminded, may you please be the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and spending it here with me. Thank you so much for watching.